Welcome to episode 45 of the Animorphs Read Along broadcast. Today we are talking about book 39, The Hidden. This book makes me sad because it's really awful. It's just sad to be in this part of the series. Like, book 37 was the kind of bad that made me want to race through it so that I could finish it and put it behind me. This book was the kind of bad that made me put it down and not pick it up for 2 weeks. Whenever I get to a bad Animorphs book, the first thing I do is check to see who the ghostwriter was. And I was kind of surprised when I looked. The ghostwriter for this book is Laura Battani-Weiss, who is the same ghostwriter who wrote book 27 and book 31. I really enjoyed 27, and 31 is, I think, one of the best ghostwritten books. Whereas book 37 was kind of an okay idea, but really bad implementation. This feels like a really bad idea with okay implementation. The Yeerks are trying to detect the blue box. And so it starts out with this kind of really exciting chase. And, you know, Cassie has to keep the box moving, and she's in the car, and she's at the gardens, and like everyone's flying around, keeping watch. I mean, it's cool. And I was like, all right, this book isn't so bad. And then we get the Buffa human. Basically, a buffalo touches the morphing cube and therefore has absorbed the ability to morph. And then the buffalo touches other things and can morph into them now. And when the buffalo watches Cassie morph, he morphs too. The Buffa human, there's a lot of reasons that it's not a good idea. First of all, it's just kind of disturbing and you don't really want to think about it too much. It's not like evocative or thought-provoking in any kind of good way. There's also something wrong, I think, with the logic that the buffalo could learn to morph, and especially later when the ant morphs, that an ant can morph, because morphing has always been described as taking a great deal of concentration and you have to really focus on the animal. I just don't think that what we know about morphing really indicates that an animal would be able to do this, especially by accident. But then the real thing that drives me crazy about this book is Cassie's angsting and moralizing over the fate of the buffalo. Cassie, when she's used effectively as a narrator, has produced some of the strongest books in the series. There's an attempt here to have a really good, deep, philosophical Cassie book without actually creating a situation where those feelings are earned. And so what we get is a Cassie who's annoying and who's tiresome and who seems kind of irrational. I think it would have been in character for Cassie to maybe have one paragraph or maybe just one sentence where she was like, you know, this buffalo exists now and it has human DNA. You know, there's something wrong about it dying. One sentence would have been in character. But for this to be the main conflict and really the center of the story was a mistake, because it just creates a sense of false drama and the reader is not invested in this buffalo, but Cassie's supposed to be, and so we feel disconnected from Cassie and we're kind of rolling our eyes at Cassie and we're just like, kill the buffalo! If you want Cassie to be an effective dissenting voice in the Animorphs, you have to use her for things that really matter. So the chase continues, playing keep away with the morphing cube, and eventually come to the conclusion that they need to recreate book 34 and Megamorphs #1 with the whole whale falling from the sky thing. It's a plan that never gets old. What's really weird about the way this book ends is that like their plan fails and everything's just going wrong, and then a seagull randomly gets sucked in to the airplane and the airplane explodes, and like, I don't know, I just wasn't sure what the point of any of this was. Normally Animorphs banter can be kind of a redeeming quality in a badly plotted book, but the banter is really bad in this book. There's like lots of really stupid one-liners. I don't know, the dialogue just wasn't particularly great. Yeah, I wish that I had something to cling to in this book to be like, it was really bad except for this, but there's just not a whole lot of good going on here. It's hard because I'm such a huge advocate for the Animorphs series. Like, I'm always telling people that these books are so incredible and so underrated and masterpiece. But then you get to this part of the series and you're kind of like, well. So yeah, overall, I would say this book struggles with a kind of emotional heaviness that just isn't earned and therefore comes off as melodramatic and trite. So the lesson should be, don't trivialize Cassie as a character by giving her a book where she's overly concerned with something trivial. Once again, I think it would have been fine for her to show concern for the buffalo once, maybe twice, but not in every chapter and not as the main source of conflict in this book. So those are all my thoughts about book number 39, The Hidden. The next book is book number 40, The Other. After book 40, we will be reading Megamorphs number 4, Back to Before. It's the last Megamorphs book, and I remember loving it, so we'll see if it holds up. If you want to keep up with this read-along, subscribe to this channel or follow me on Twitter. And one note, I am about to move out of the country, so I'm not planning on missing any, but I disappear for a week or so. That's why.